Hi Tina, this is Catherine from class. I remember that earlier today you had some questions regarding using or the different kinds of colored text that appears when you're doing real-time in Eclipse. So I wanted to make this little tutorial video to explain what some of the different colors mean, how you can find out what they mean, and how to change them to your liking as well. The wonderful thing about Eclipse is that you can customize it almost as much as you want to make it just what you want. So first, you'll see that I have Eclipse open, and I'm actually in a real-time file where I can type, just doing a couple periods, and my writer is now connected. The first thing I want you to do is open Users. I do it by pressing Alt-U, or you can just press on the little gears that you may have in your toolbar. I removed mine, but yours might still be there. Once you're inside User Settings, go over to the Display tab, open it, and follow my cursor down. I want you to go right under Color Selections. You'll see this drop-down menu. If you click it, there's a whole variety of different options we have here, and they're named according to what they do. So, okay, the normal text / transparency color, this is at the top because it's explaining to you what the color of the text will be, or normal text, and the transparency color, or the background color. I don't really think this is anything, but everything below it has meaning. The title is sort of self-explanatory. Type that's text in by the user is what you'll see if you write in by yourself. So my goal is to go down a few of these that I'm very familiar with and show you when they appear and then what they mean. First, text typed in by the user. I'll show you what that does. I'm in Hyperkeys, as you can see by the fat cursor. But if I just press N on my keyboard, it turns into new text. N stands for new text, basically text that I type. I type anything. You notice that the color, that sort of like gray-blue, matched what was in the user settings. Going back again, user settings, display, drop down. The next one are untranslates. This is if you write something pretty messy, and it obviously does not translate well. It's an untranslate. Now I'll show you, see, I'm just going to be really messy. You'll see it's purple, but you'll also see it didn't stay in steno very long. That's actually because I have something activated in the program called Translation Magic. I'll get to that probably at the end of the video, but just to show you that I have designated untranslates to turn up purple. Going back into display, after type in text and after it translates, we have conflicts not yet selected. Now if you're in theory, I'm sure they've talked a lot about how you should not have conflicts in your theory. I'm not too against them because honestly, the AI or artificial intelligence of these CAT programs can be so good that they can help figure out the correct conflict to select in a sentence depending on the context. I'll show you an example of when this pink, bright pink text appears. Oops, actually, make a new paragraph. I have a conflict of maint, which is maintain and may not. I'm going to put a period, and it should, there. It's bright pink because the computer, nor the user, myself, has selected which conflict I want. If I put my cursor on it, just to show you what that looks like, I'm not sure if you can see, it's cut off at the bottom of the screen. However, it says 1-maintain, 2-may not. That's saying if I press the number 1 on my keyboard, it tells the computer to select maintain word. If I press number 2, I'm telling it to select may not. That's just to show you what an unselected conflict? Conflicts not yet selected. Look at these next two options. Conflicts selected by the computer or conflicts selected by the user. Pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you what that looks like in action. Make a new paragraph. If I write the sentence, I maintain the, that didn't look good. I will maintain the plan, period. Oops, I don't know why will attached. Ignore that. Anyway, you'll see here that the computer selected maintain in this sort of ugly muddy color, which, if you remember, is reflected in the display settings that we looked at. If I were to click it and I make the choice and I say no, I want to make may not. I pressed number 2 on my keyboard and it changed the word to may not. And it also made it a green color, which, as you remember, within display signifies conflicts selected by the user, me. So that's an explanation of these you might see often if you use conflicts. Now I'm going to continue down the list and see if I can get into these or explain what they do. Automatic text added by the translator. Honestly, I'm not too familiar with this. Maybe that means it won't come up. Scopus text added on the edit station. Well, being students, we certainly will not have any reason to see this because we don't use Scopus. We don't use the edit station, so you can ignore that. Print commands. This is something that you'll only see if you have your print commands option selected. Now at this moment, I won't get into it to show you how you can make it appear, but I'll give you an example of how it looks in real time. I believe this should make it work. I do plaintiff, attorney in question, and you'll see a conditional page break too popped up. This is an example of a print command. No one sees this when you print it. It's just for your eyes when you are inside the program. So to give you an example of what this means, or to explain it, this is basically telling the computer that, well, it's not really important to know what this print command means, but that's just to give you an example of what a print command looks like. And as you recall, it had this sort of line background with blue text, and here you see it in the file. Going down, we have form field color. Again, this is something a bit more advanced, but you can make it appear. Let me see. I believe it's Alt-A. No. Control-A adds a blank field. This is not important to know about. Just giving you an example. And then there you see, that's what a form field looks like. Now the reason I'm going through this, like I said, is just to explain how all of these little titles explain what that color is that appears in that color. Oh my god, I'm sorry. What that text is that appears in that color. Next we're going to cover the next 3 ones because they're all associated. Question paragraph labels, answer paragraph labels, speaker paragraph labels. If this is all too advanced for you, don't really take too much of it into heart. Just know that, again, I'm explaining all the different kinds of colored text there is. You can make a couple spaces. If I press question, how are you, you'll see that the Q is red, just like it was labeled in the display settings. Answer, fine. The A will be blue. If we have a speaker, for example, court says, shut up. The court text will appear in orange because it is a speaker. Again, this is all something covered pretty far after theory. But now you see why they're labeled as such. So we've gone over those. Other paragraph labels. I myself don't use this too much. Don't worry about it. Page numbers. Apparently it's the color of the page numbers that appear. I think I have mine set that you don't even see page numbers. Irrelevant. Line numbers. This refers to these. Steno in the tracking window. I don't really know what that is. Maybe it's this. Not too sure. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. Deleted steno in the tracking window. You'll notice up here, I have a whole bunch of little asterisks because I was deleting. So that's why it's all red. Dictionary editor. Not too important. It might be this text down here. The note file editor. I don't know. The text box and the page background. I'm pretty sure that actually refers to all of this. I made mine gray background, so it's a bit easy on the eyes, because you'll be staring at the screen quite a bit when you're editing. Steno macros in the tracking window. You don't see it here. Maybe I can activate one, just to give you an example. Macro is basically a kind of little programming that you do. Oh wait, did that come in? There it goes. a little slow. I pressed one asterisk, you can't see it here, that's Z. And that basically said to capitalize the last word. Not important, but you just see how it is a blue text with a white background, just like in here. Captioning preview window, again, I don't do captioning, I don't see this. Nor do I do much redacted text, nor do I do cart. These three you'll see when you're writing a lot in real time, and over here in the info bar, depending on your settings, you'll see a list of either green text, which is where you can request the computer to give you a brief, very useful. Orange text will be reminder briefs to remind you that you have briefs in your dictionary that you're not using and you should. And pink one are normal briefs. That's where again the program comes up with a brief selection. Gosh, I have the same pink color for both of conflicts not selected and normal briefs. No big deal. Alright, we've gone through pretty much all of these to give you a sense of what they all mean. So I remember your original question was, you said, what is this purple text that's appearing? Well, depending on where that purple text is and where it falls on this list, you might be able to understand what it does now because of my explanation. If you're not too sure, try and click on some of the purple text, and you can change the color and see how it appears on your real time. So I'm going to show you how to change colors. Just for an example, I'm going to choose one I don't do too often because I love all my colors. I'm going to click on Scopus Text Added on the Edit Station, just for an example. Click on the line of the text color that you want to change. When it's selected, it'll appear here. Underneath it, you see two little buttons. One says Foreground and one says Background. Foreground refers to changing the color of the letters themselves. Check this out. When I click it, a little graph of color options pop up. You'll see one of them is already highlighted to show what's currently selected. It's purple. If I change it to light blue, then I press OK, you'll see that it changed it to light blue. Press the background, it's already light, this kind of bright green. I'll change it to a pretty little lilac and press OK. And you'll see it's changed. And it will then, I think, going forward, be reflected in your real time. I don't think it goes back and changes something that's already present, but that's something you can play around with. I'm just going to put mine back to what it was. Purple text for the foreground, bright green for the background. Now you know how to change any of these colors that you want to your liking. I don't remember what they were at the beginning, but I've changed these so that they're a little, I don't know, softer in the eyes, or certain things stand out to me if I want. For example, it's a good idea to have conflicts not selected really pop out because you don't want that to be, staying. So I think that's everything in regards to the display. One last thing I'm going to tell you for the last minute of this video is I'm going to see whether or not you have the feature of Translation Magic selected. You can find out by clicking on Translate tab, going down to the Translation Magic button, and click it to bring up the Translation Magic Settings dialog box. If this first box next to Translation Magic is selected, obviously that means that the feature is working. What Translation Magic essentially does is it takes any untranslates that you have and tries to guess essentially what you are trying to write. My settings are very low because I don't want Translation Magic to guess too far and stretch what I possibly was trying to write. Personally, I find this very useful if you have a couple sloppy strokes. And that is why with Translation Magic selected, remember what I wrote up here? It didn't stay in steno. Translation Magic kicked in, and based off of what I had written, which I don't remember now, it said, well, what you just wrote is so messy you don't have that defined, but I'm going to guess it might be violation. I don't remember what I wrote. But anyway, that's why the untranslate does not stay in steno, and it's purple per my display settings. So I think that's everything that I wanted to say in this video. It got kind of long, but I wanted to make sure I covered all of it very thoroughly. You can take your time going through this video again, and I hope it helped. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. Thanks, and good luck.